Well, hello and welcome back to the Belinda Green Carpet at VALA 2016 and the last of the Library Chat Chats. This is a 5 minutes on with Kim Tairi, who is the former university librarian for Swinburne University and the current university librarian for the Auckland University of Technology in Auckland, New Zealand. How are you doing?
Yeah, pretty good. And look, I managed to clear the green carpet area.
You have a very good effect.
That's a talent. That's a talent, yeah.
Not many people can do that. So Kim, I thought what we'd do is we'd talk a wee bit about thinking in the Australasian context. I mean, so you're a New Zealander who's lived in Australia for a long time, worked in Australia, has now moved to New Zealand and working in New Zealand, and has very much, I think, probably an Australasian presence. Starting thinking from a career perspective, what do you think in terms of, opportunities and abilities to work in that sort of space?
Well, it's really awesome to be able to move across the Tasman into work, and there's quite a lot of osmosis going on between Australia and New Zealand at the moment. So in CONSL, which is the group of university librarians in New Zealand, there are 4 people that have got a Australian flavour. So that's going to have quite an impact on the academic sector in New Zealand. I've never worked in New Zealand as a professional, as a librarian, and I've always been attracted to the community. There seems to be a sense of community collaboration that is very alluring, and I really wanted to be a part of that. As you can probably tell, I'm a brown girl. And being a brown girl from New Zealand, I actually thought it was a really good opportunity to get to know a bit about my own Indigenous culture, which I grew up not a part of. So there are lots of opportunities for me to learn and grow as a professional. And also AUT is a lot like Swinburne, where I was university librarian before, so it's a really good fit for me. And I would encourage other people to think about crossing the Tasman. I think it's a really good move. Although, bear in mind, I've only been there for a month.
Right, and thank you for bringing up the CONSL context, because I hadn't actually thought about that, and you're right. CONSL is just about equally split now between native New Zealanders and native Australians. So it's actually a really good example of how that career, almost like cross-fertilisation, occurs.
Well, it's really interesting. CONSL and CALL, so CALL is the Council of Australian University Librarians, we actually meet twice a year as a whole group. So there really is an Australasian perspective in academic libraries, and I think that's a really valuable thing. After all, we are all academic librarians, that's what we do, and there's real value in being able to share our knowledge across the countries.
Cool, and so that nicely leads us on to collaboration. So CONSL and CALL meet twice a year. Without going into obviously the conversations that CONSL and CALL are having, what sort of thoughts do you have around the opportunities for Australasian collaboration, both within the university sector but also wider within the wider library community?
So, of course, one of the things we're really interested in is getting the best deal from vendors in terms of licensing and subscription costs. So we do talk quite a lot about how we can get value, how we can make the consortia work for us in terms of our buying power, and that thing about as a group we have more power than as individuals. So that's really great. The other thing is that when our vice-chancellors get together, they set strategy, they talk about the directions of our universities, and there are some themes that are rolling through academia at the moment, and one of them is student services, reform in student services, and library are very much part of that discussion. So it's great for me because I can pick the brains of some of the best leaders and university librarians across both countries about what they're doing in that space. So for example, La Trobe, Jenny Peasley is doing some really interesting stuff there around integrating student services. There's a really interesting model at University of Tasmania that is really helping others to kind of look around the rest of the environment and go, well, you know, I can learn things from that context.
Cool. What about an Australasian context to scholarly data?
We weren't going to talk about this. Look, I'm a big advocate for openness. I really think that generally academia and universities need to consider more about opening out our data. The whole open publishing thing it's a movable feast at the moment. So we're all really finding our way in that space. But having conversations and sharing what people have found from the overseas experience, there's so much expertise in both Australia and New Zealand, and we should be really proud of that. And one of the things, that encouraged me and inspired me to become a librarian is that we're about building capacity. We're all about sharing, and that's very much true in call and console at that level.
Cool. Okay, and just finally, you're a former VALA president. I think that's correct.
Yes.
How important is VALA?
Well, I mean, I'm a little bit biased. You probably shouldn't ask me this question because I was involved with VALA for 8 years as a committee member, and before that I came to the conference. I do think it's one of the best Australasian conferences for the library information sector. And it's great to see so many people here. I mean, as I said when I was chairing the session this morning, this is my community of practice. So what I come to VALA for is to hear great stuff that people are doing, also to hear about the things that didn't work quite so well and the learnings from those things. But it's really to be, hang out with my peeps, to find out what's going on in the profession, and I find these things really inspiring, especially the calibre of international keynotes and Australasian keynotes that we have, and it's a conference to be proud of.
Cool. And that's 5 minutes with Kim Tairi. Thank you, Kim.